Hello and good morning, Year 8. Welcome to week 10. You have 5 days left to go to the end of the year. So, congratulations on making it so far, but we're not quite there yet. Just to give you a bit of description of this next activity that we'd like to do to keep us busy. This one's very much hands-on, so I hope that you're all going to give it a real good go because it's a skill which can be learned. Some of you will find it easier than others, but it most certainly can be learned. So we're going to walk through some steps that will help you to be able to do it today. So when you've got your web quest done, then we'll move on to this activity. We're going to be doing a field sketch. So field sketches are drawings that are completed during field work. So this is something which geographers do when they go out into the field. They'll take a field sketch. So it's what we can do outside the classroom. And we're going to get you to do one. I want you definitely, though, to make sure you negotiate with your families at home about that. You don't really need to go off anywhere away from home. You can usually find somewhere like on a veranda or from a window or in your backyard or somewhere that's very nearby where you can get something that's worth sketching. You don't have to go off to exotic places. While some of the images that we see there on the screen, we've got Bondi Beach, which is quite iconic, and the other one is at I think that's the Point Cartwright or Point Arkwright, sorry, at the Sunshine Coast, and then we've got the Canadian Rocky Mountains down below. We're not expecting you to go to really interesting places like that, although this skill that you learn, you can use anywhere that you go in the world. Field sketches allow a geographer to capture the main aspects of landscapes so that they can edit the view. And the idea is that we focus on important features and leave out or omit the unnecessary stuff. So a field sketch is not a photograph. It's not meant to show us everything. In fact, what we want to do is maybe filter out some of the unnecessary stuff so it helps us to focus on the stuff we need. And in order to do this, there are high-end graphics packages that you could probably use, but it's much, much easier and certainly much cheaper to do it by hand. So we do freehand drawings and use annotations. Colour can also be added, but it's not necessary, and often a good field sketch is just simply done in monochrome. A field sketch aids our sense of observation. It allows us to record and interpret environments. Following a few basic steps, everyone can construct a field sketch. Can I repeat that? Everyone. Every single one of you is capable of doing this. So if there's been aspects of geography so far this semester that you haven't been able to grasp, this is something that you absolutely can do and you can do well. And so I want you all to do this to the best of your ability because you all can do it. Absolutely every one of you. So there's no I don't know, there's no I don't understand. This is something that you can all do. So they're useful because they capture important information. You might think it's easy to take a photo, but the photo is going to have a lot of stuff in it that we don't need to see and makes an image very busy. By making a drawing in the field, you're interpreting the environment. So you, as the sketcher, applying a filter using your brain on what is the important stuff that needs to be included. And we've been doing this ever since we were young. When you first started drawing when you're a kid, you were doing this without even realizing it. So if one of the first drawings that kids do when you're young is drawing your family. Something that you do probably at kindergarten or at prep very early on in school. Draw a picture of what your family's like. And what do? We include some really interesting stuff like Dad wears a big tie or, my brother is really tall. And usually what happens is when we're kids, we exaggerate that stuff. So we're not talking about exaggerating, but certainly what we do from an early age is we recognise what's important and we focus on that. What we can also do in a field sketch is that we add things like labelling. So this is annotations, extra information which is added, which a photograph won't have. So here's sort of an example of a rough field sketch. We can see that it gives us some information that a picture doesn't, and also it's basic enough so that it's focusing on things that a photo would probably confuse us with. We can see that it gives us a direction, that this image has us pointing southeast. It's got a title, so we've got context of where we are and what we're looking at, and where we're going from. We've also got a little bit of context here saying where it is we're looking from. Okay, so Cape Schnack and Pulpit Rock from the path down, and it also tells us when. Now, it's important to include when because many landscapes are going to change over time. So there's the picture of Cape Schnack. Okay, so that's the perspective from what that sketch was taken from. And you can see there's extra stuff there that hasn't been included in it. So what do you use? A good field sketch is completed on plain paper. It's done in pencil. It has a title, has a date, uses labels for key features, indicates and shows direction and shading. Let's give you a bit of a video, which is probably going to be even more helpful than me in how to do a field sketch.
Completing a field sketch. To complete a field sketch, you will need plain paper, a clipboard, a lead pencil, a ruler, and an eraser. We're going to create a field sketch of this photograph of a scene from rural Asia. For the sake of this exercise, we will need to imagine that we are standing in front of this field as if we were there conducting field work. We start by drawing a frame in the same proportions as the photograph or the scene in front of us. To make it easier to draw our sketch, we imagine the frame is divided into 3 areas: background, middle ground, and foreground. You can also imagine the area is divided into left, center, and right. Each area doesn't need to be the same size. The proportions you choose will depend on your photograph or the view in front of you when you are on a field trip. For this photograph, we will start by drawing the fence as a baseline. Then we draw the background and the foreground. We have started with these as they contain the least detail. Next, we will work from left to right, drawing all of the detail in the middle ground. Remember, you don't have to be an artist. You just need to identify the location, size, and shape of important features you would like to represent. Now we will label some of the key features we have included in our drawing. These include the main features we see, like the different types of trees, the paddy that has been recently harvested, and the paddy still to be harvested. We can label any human or any natural features that we can see. Now let's add some notes to our sketch describing the landforms, settlement, and natural vegetation that are observable. The land is flat and suitable for irrigation and rice farming. Scattered houses in the background are signs of settlement. The land is mainly cleared except for near the houses in the background. Lastly, we need to provide a clear title so that someone else knows exactly what is being represented. In this case, we will title this Women Harvesting and Baking Rice in a Rice Field in Vietnam. Add the date that the photograph was taken and place this underneath your completed field sketch. You can use the model in your skill builder to check how to create a field sketch when you go on a field trip.
Okay, and that video is also saved in your OneNote under class notes and field sketching, so if you want to go back to it, you can. Okay, so plain paper, a clipboard, which is something hard to be able to give you a backing to your sketch. A grey pencil, a soft one is best. Now that someone who's really serious about this might actually use 3 different types of pencils, but you can use one. If it's a soft one, then you're able to do shading quite well. A ruler and also an eraser. So step 1 is pick an environment. It can be natural or human altered. Choose something which is close to you. Step 2, partly close your eyes so that you're peeking at the world. All the small details will disappear and your eyes will focus on what you're looking at. These main outlines are the first parts that you draw. So practice looking at the environment. Attach your paper securely to the clipboard as the wind plays havoc, so that's an important thing to remember, often we forget when we head out. Draw in the horizon as a baseline. Now in that example we used, they didn't have the horizon, so what they used was you could use a fence line or a tree line. Often the horizon is a really good one because it's long and it goes right across your view. It also separates the sky from the land. Divide your sketch horizontally into 3 portions: the background, the middle ground and the foreground. The closest is to you, the foreground. Peek at the landscape through your partly closed eyes and add the outlines onto your sketch. Start with the main features in the background, then middle ground, and then lastly the foreground. There'll be a few shapes on your page, but no details yet. You're just forming out the main sections of the drawing. Okay, so peek at the landscape through your partly closed eyes. Again, we've got the main features. Okay, oh sorry, that's the same as the last step. Apologies. So using this base, you can now add your details. Okay, so you sort of give the outline. This is a bit like scaffolding in a way. Now we go in and put more detail. So you put in the wave cut platform, a stack, a headland. That's if you were doing that Cape Schnack. Okay, and you can see when we get to step 8 is when you start annotating. So this is where you put in the names and identifying the different parts, like highlighting those particular things that you want the viewer to notice. Finishing touches are where we put on a border, add a direction indicator so we know which way we're looking, title the sketch, date your drawing, and include the direction you're facing if you know it. Okay, and then your checklist. Have I drawn a border? Have I added a compass direction? Have I titled the sketch? Have I dated the sketch? Have I shaded it to give depth? Have I clearly labelled the significant aspects? So be ready to share your field sketch in the next lesson and briefly explain the features in the area that you have sketched. Okay, and the final place for you to put that is, I'll just bring over the OneNote. Okay, in the collaboration space, okay, we've got a spot for field sketches. So that's where we put the web quests, and in here is another tab called field sketches. It says here it will be best for you to do a printout. So when you drag and drop it in there, don't do an insert, do a printout so that we can see it clearly on the screen. Okay, and we really look forward to seeing you doing those. And as I said, everybody can do this. There's not a single one of you that won't be able to give this a go. So best of luck today. I forgot to say I'm not in class because I'm at the enrichment day. So if you're at the enrichment day, hi, but you wouldn't have seen this video. So anyway, you guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So Tuesday morning, we'll have a look at what field sketches you've got. So have them ready by tomorrow, please. Do it in this lesson. Okay, don't go off and do other things. Spend this lesson to do it. You could take 20 minutes, we'll get a field sketch done. Okay, half an hour maximum if you want to spend a lot of time on it. So you absolutely can do it this lesson. Okay, so best of luck guys, look forward to seeing what you've got.